Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, which is devoted to channeling spirit and everything spiritual. Today, Mother Mary's coming through in the channeling. I know her well since I was a teenager, and she always comes in difficult or challenging times of life. She's a super healing being, full of compassion and caring. I always feel as if I'm with a very loving grandmother figure when she comes near me. The way I channel is that I sit quietly and listen for the voice of spirit or whoever wants to come in and communicate with me. My strongest intuitive function is my clairaudience, which just means that I can hear the voice of spirit. I always keep my eyes open because it's just the way that spirit taught me how to do it from an early age. I'm not a trance channeler, so I'm fully aware of everything that's happening, but I sort of just take the back seat and let spirit take the wheel for the duration of the channeling. I've been channeling for so long that it honestly just feels like second nature at this point. I knew Mother Mary was coming today because I heard her voice earlier telling me that she wanted to offer a message. I've talked to Mary many times before. She even wrote a whole book with me through written channeling. She's actually the being that I enjoy speaking with the most because she's so amazingly gentle. I'll just mention quickly how I see her in my clairvoyance or psychic vision, so you can recognize her if she ever shows up for you in a dream or in meditation. She has a blue dress, more like a gown, which is really her blue energy field. She always shows up for me as kneeling next to me with her hands in prayer. She's super devoted to loving others and will come to anyone who is lonely or in despair as long as you ask. I hope you can feel her energy as I did when I did the channeling with her today. Mary always brings me to tears because she is so very compassionate and her energy just hits my heart deeply. I'll be posting more channeling on my YouTube channel. The next one is from Christ Consciousness about how to release your karma and what souls actually do in heaven. Hit subscribe if you'd like to hear more channeled material. So here it is, my channeling with Mother Mary. Hello. Today, I'd like to speak about the way that we love one another. It isn't always so obvious how to love another human being. On the surface, it seems like everybody loves each other differently, but I think there's only one way to love, and that is true acceptance of the other person. It's hard to accept one another as we are. It truly is, because some things about other people are hurtful to us, and so we reject them for that. Anytime we feel hurt or pain, it's easy to reject another human being because we want the hurt to go away, and we assign blame. The minute we assign blame to another person is when love stops. Love in action assigns no blame and takes only responsibility for the truth, not even for the self, because the self doesn't exist without truth. When we take responsibility for the truth, there is no need to blame anyone else, and as a result, we do not need to reject anyone else or protect ourselves. When we cease to protect ourselves, we are in true love. I'm here to invite you to join me on the road to true love. True love doesn't need protections. In fact, it blows through other people's protections because it is so harmless. The harmlessness is the attitude that you cannot be harmed. When you yourself know, I cannot be harmed, you will not ever harm another again. There can be no harm in that attitude or in that truth. When you enter into that truth, into that love, not only will you open yourself, you will help others open themselves to you. There are many amongst you who are sensitive people, who are older souls who have walked the lifetimes many, many times, and you are what I call wise ones. You wise ones may notice that when you're around other people, they will naturally open up to you. They'll speak to you about their worries and their woes. They'll tell you about their sorrows, and sometimes that can feel like a burden. And I urge you not to feel burdened. Instead, to recognize that because you are harmless, you invoke the feeling of being safe within other people. They instinctively know that you are harmless, and so they open their hearts to you. That is the true healing of a wise one. The healing is just demonstrating what it is like not to be harmful and not to blame others for your own pain. Many of you hold deep pains, not only from this life, but from past lifetimes. Those pains are not easy to hold, but I also find that wise ones do not harm others in response. That is perhaps the biggest difference between a younger soul and an older one, is that the older one will hold their pain and not harm others with it. They might use it to find healing modalities to help others and themselves over time. If you find yourself in that predicament, that you have pain inside, but no one who can listen to you, you are probably an older soul. If you find that wherever you go, others are drawn unto you and want to share with you their pain, you are probably an older soul. If you find that anytime you utter a few words of encouragement to another, they fall into tears, you are an older soul. Many of you hold those kinds of works in the world right now, and you're sometimes unsure if you're doing anything meaningful. Many people think, I need to find my life purpose, or I need to do something more meaningful, when just earlier that day you may have helped someone release in eons of pain just by your harmless behavior. It is perhaps your very beingness that is the purpose of your life. It doesn't have to be so complicated. The love that you hold is the life purpose. It's about finding a way to express it without holding back. That's the challenge. Each person holds such a challenge within. Each soul is looking for that outlet for their love, their unique version of love, but the love is all the same in the end. It's just the way that we pour it into the glass that differs. It's all water, it's all love, and the glass will be filled regardless. The sensitive among you have often wondered how it's possible to be insensitive in this world. And you may look upon others and think, how are they so insensitive? How don't they have empathy for others? How is it possible that they don't notice the recourse of their actions or the pain that they're causing? It's a very strange emotion. It's not anger and it's not fear. It's actually more like confusion. It's very confusing to watch the news and not understand the reasons behind their actions. And I would say that it's really more just a harmful beingness with a lack of truth that's causing it. It's not an evilness, and it's really not even a negativity. It's just a lack of truth. The way I see the world is there's truth and there's lack of truth. And truth is just another word for loving, non-harming compassion. When we're in such a compassionate state, it's not possible to harm other people to the extent that some of these world leaders are doing. It's the love within you that wonders where their love is. Where is it? Did it never descend into them? But that's where I think it's time to simply spread the truth of who you are to those around you in your immediate vicinity. We're also focused these days on the wider world, that sometimes we forget that the most important purpose we have in front of us are the people who live in our home and outside of our home, our neighbors and friends, and the people down the road. If we all focus on that, we'll create a beautiful world to live in again. To be as sensitive in this kind of a world isn't easy, and we need to constantly remind ourselves that this isn't our true home. The truth is that we're souls experiencing the world anew and fresh, trying to create a heavenly place to live. It's not so hard to think that you might feel a little out of place when you are a harmless one in a world that seems intent on harming one another. But you are here to teach others. So teach others about what harmlessness looks like, what it feels like, what the experience is like. When you sit and simply listen to another speak of their pain, that is the truest love there is, because you are in that moment a container for the healing that needs to happen in that space. So hold that space open for others. There's no need to protect from the pain of others. It is the defense mechanisms of others that cause harm to sensitive people. Sensitive people are very, very easily influenced by defense mechanisms and harmful behavior. Many of us have begun to retreat from others as a result, feeling I'm not able to withstand the defense mechanisms of others, the defensive and aggressive behaviors, or the speech that is being held by those in power. It is not their pain that we fear. It is their protection against their pain. It's their fear of living in their own truth that causes us to recoil and want to protect ourselves. There is much talk of narcissism and other vampire behaviors in other people. Many sensitive people are seeking out psychological self-help books as a way to manage their fear of the harmful behavior of younger souls, or souls who simply do not hold the wisdom to create a beautiful world. While that's good and helpful for boundary holding, let us not forget that we cannot be harmed in the truth. The only thing that can be harmed is a moment of experience. When that moment passes, you are still in the truth. You are still the old soul that you have always been, and you have even more experience to help others with. Sometimes negative experiences are sent our way so that we can grow into the people we are meant to be. Perhaps you are meant to be even more wise, even more serene, and even more peaceful than you were the day before. And so you encounter a very aggressive driver that day, and you feel overwhelmed by their fear and anger. And you think, why am I in this world of angry and fearful people? And the reason is because that day you needed to descend deeper into your own peace by recognizing its polar opposite. The experience of the polar opposite of what your soul is trying to achieve is very common these days. You might look around and say, I've been working my whole life towards a peaceful, spiritual demeanor, and yet all I encounter are other humans who have not been working on that. Why can I not be surrounded by others of like mind? And I can say to you that what you need is to become even stronger in your spiritual selfhood, and that is why you encounter those who are not spiritual. So embrace what you experience, even if it feels negative, and know that you are deepening into the truth of who you are very, very quickly. That is the path of every sensitive soul, and there are many of us here. The most sensitive of us are the ones who are encountering the most difficulties at this time. The love of Spirit wants you to deepen quickly so that you can spread your peace and serenity to others in the coming times when they will also encounter more difficult experiences. But you sensitives are the forerunners, and you will have already gone through it. And so Spirit is teaching you all how to handle these fears and despairs and turn them into gifts and talents and loves so that you can then teach others and help them along. There are many of you here now, and there are more to come. The children entering into the world right now are some of the most spiritually advanced souls that have been on the earth for a long time. They are seeking to connect everybody. They are the boundary breakers. They are the rebels. They are the ones who will stand up and say no to power. We as elders have a responsibility to learn how to hold ourselves steady, even in the face of world difficulties, so that we can help these children to manifest what they need to, which is a radical new world that doesn't subscribe to the old ideals of greed and selfishness. The new world is about togetherness, and the children coming into the world now know that, and they have a mission, a purpose to bring it into the world order. That means they will disrupt systems. They will not be aggressive. That is not what I mean. They will have new thought forms. They will think of new ideals. They will be innovators. They will not see the old and try to conform to it. They will try and find new ways to do things. So as older beings, or at least in Earth years, we need to be here as supported pillars for them of strength and dependability. To have elders to depend upon is absolutely essential. Our work as sensitive people isn't just about today, it's about tomorrow as well. These new souls are going to need us, and we are going to need them. So I look forward to the time when these new souls have come in and grown enough to interact with the older generations on a more serious level, because we will see many, many new innovative ideas come our way, and I celebrate it. For now, it's important to care for the self and to care for others. This isn't a time to focus on the outer world. It's a time to go inwards, go to family and friends. It's a time to focus on those who are closest to us. And that is where our main purpose lies during these coming years. The outer world has not much to offer us right now. There is much turmoil and fear. As sensitive people, we need to know that and give our love where it's most needed. Thank you for being here with me today. I wish you well upon your path.